Hey, Coach, any update on Myles? Is he going to practice today?
He's not going to practice today. We're outside, so I just want to be cautious, and he'll get some work done inside.
Okay. Can you tell us what happened? Did he tweak it on Sunday then, I assume, or?
Exactly. Nothing more than that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Nate Ulrich.
Kevin, do you still think he'll be able to go Friday for you?
I do.
And do you have anybody else coming back today?
I don't think so. JC will be out there. Not sure how much he'll be doing.
So you find out more about Teller Wednesday or Thursday. Can you rule him out now?
I'd say it's doubtful.
Thank you, Nate. We'll go to Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin. I wanted to ask you about Jarvis. Do you think without Odell that he'll take kind of more responsibility, maybe put more pressure on himself as he steps into that number one role?
I don't think so, Scott. I think he's a veteran. He's been around this game for a while. He understands the work that he puts in to get ready for Sunday. He understands his role as a leader. But I don't see any additional pressure, no.
And we all know how close he and Odell are. Have you seen him, any kind of lingering effect on him from Odell's injury?
No. Obviously, I think he wants his friend, wants his teammate out there, but he understands what needs to be done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. We'll go to Mary Kay Cabot for our next question.
Yeah, Coach, just wondering what makes it so hard to get, you guys have been kind of living and dying a little bit off the takeaways. What makes it so hard to intercept Derek Carr this season, even though he's taking some shots downfield?
Yeah, Mary Kay, he does push the ball down the field, but he's extremely accurate. So when he is throwing it into windows, he can throw into tight windows with his accuracy. I think ultimately it's so much a product of decision making, and he's making very good decisions with the ball.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Go to Jeff Shadell for our next question.
Hey, Kevin, I want to ask you about Andrew Sendejo. We see him kind of like closing on a lot of plays. It looks like he's a step behind sometimes, but what is he doing right, and is he getting perhaps more grief than he deserves?
Yeah, I can't speak to the grief he's getting, Jeff. We grade all of our players every week, and he's a player that has some good plays, has some bad plays, and you could really chalk that up to every single one of our players. But he's doing a nice job for us in the meeting rooms, on the practice field. He provides leadership. But to say that any defensive back's not going to miss a play, I don't think is accurate.
George Thomas has our next question.
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering, when you look at Darren Waller, what do you see there?
I see a very rare combination of size and speed. He looks,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say he at times looks like a wide receiver, and a very good one at that. And at times he looks like a tight end blocking people, and a good one at that. So there's versatility there.
How does he help with those open up those outside receivers?
I think it's with anything that goes together, the outside and the inside, whether you're talking about a slot receiver or a tight end. When you can be a threat on the inside, it really takes the defense's attention towards you. And if that's the case, there's a safety that's helping on the inside. He can't help on the outside.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, George. Anthony Postal, you're up.
Hey, Coach, what's the significance of the Stay in the Game t-shirts that you and other coaches and players are wearing around the building today? And what's the message behind the shirt?
The message behind it is we want to make sure kids are in school. There's, a problem with absenteeism. We want to make sure that we're encouraging the kids, we're encouraging the schools to make sure that those kids are staying in school, and we know how important that is for them to be in there day to day. And there's just too many examples of when kids aren't in school. So we're really trying to encourage them to make sure that they're taking advantage of the education that is available to them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Tony Grossi, you have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, I assume that when you and Joe Woods first got together this year, before you even acquired new players, you listed some objectives you wanted your defense to do, this, and this. How many have you been able to achieve? And is it a work in progress that's been complicated by the injuries?
I'd say we're in the first year of systems on both sides. So I don't think either side of the ball, offense or defense, is where we ultimately want to be. Obviously, special teams plays a huge factor into this. With Coach Prefer still being here, that was the system was remaining the same. So I think we're getting there, Tony. I do think we put such an emphasis on taking the ball away and be able to do it how we have this first 7 games in. We got to make sure that we continue to do that because that is part of our DNA.
Thank you, Tony. Tom Withers, you have our next question.
Thank you, Rob. Kevin, you gave Rashard Higgins a clean slate when you got here, obviously. How much do you think that helped him? And what were your first impressions of him when you saw him?
Yeah, Tom, I gave everybody a clean slate when I got here. But since the moment he's been with us, whether on Zoom calls back in the spring or out here on the practice field when we finally got together at training camp, he does his job. It's somewhat as simple as that. He does his job and he makes sure whatever the team needs, he's going to do.
I know you want everybody to go as hard as they can in practice, but is he somebody that really goes above and beyond?
He does do a nice job. We have the mile per hour numbers on all the guys and the yardage that they go based on GPS. And he's one of those guys that can just run all day. And I do appreciate that about him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Nate Ork, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, obviously we ask you about Myles Garrett all the time, but with him winning Player of the Month, how impressive has his month been? And, when you talk about takeaways and being part of who you guys are, obviously he plays a huge role in that. What have you thought of him being able to add that element to his game? We've seen him with some forced fumbles in the past, but not at this rate.
Yeah, he's been a game changer. I mean, he has changed the game many times this season. And that's those sack fumbles. I want to say he's gotten 4 maybe. That's changing the game. It's changing the outcome of games. And he knows that we're counting on him. He's a great football player, and we're going to need him for the rest of this season to continue to apply pressure to the Q, get the ball out. Everything he's the straw that stirs the drink there.
Thank you, Nate. Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin, I don't even know if you refer to them as trick plays, but, you had another receiver pass last week. What do you like about those? And is there an element of just fun to calling those kind of plays?
Yeah, I think there is an element of fun there. And I think it gets our players' attention in practice, which is sometimes hard to do. So when you install those plays early on a Wednesday morning, they kind of perk up and sit up in their chair. So not going to say we're doing it every game. Maybe we will, but I think it just adds another element that the defense has to get ready for.
And was that a designed option, the one where Jarvis pitched it to Kareem?
It was. We could have done a little bit. You're going to call some of those, and you're going to hope for a look, and sometimes you don't get exactly what you want. And the outcome was we retained possession of the ball, which is important. But we don't anticipate that every single time we do something outside the box that it's going to be a big hit. But we're just going to keep testing the limits, thinking outside the box, and again, just trying to make ourselves tough to defend.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Jake Trotter, you're up.
Yeah, Kevin, you guys are giving up almost a historical high in terms of points for this franchise. Now, some of that is just the way the league is going right now. Some of it, you've had a kick return touchdown, a pick 6. But what concern level do you have at the rate of points your defense is giving up, especially when you factor in that Myles is playing probably better than any defender in the NFL right now?
Yeah, Jake, I think we look at it every week. We pull this thing apart. I think, we're almost 8 games into this thing, and we'll really do a deep dive when you get there 8 games in. There are areas that we absolutely want to improve. Obviously, starting with scoring points and not allowing points, that makes sense to me to start there. But I think we're going to really drill into what we can do better in a bunch of areas that contribute maybe to the points scored and points allowed.
Yeah, how quickly, it's kind of a weird trade deadline this year for a number of different reasons, but, how quickly do you guys have to pivot off of the Raider game because you have, limited window there to kind of figure out how you might want to improve your team before the trade deadline?
Yeah, I think that's why Andrew Berry and his staff do a great job. I mean, they're not waiting until the deadline to think about this. They're constantly talking and they have a plan, and and we'll just make sure that we stay in communication. And I know Andrew's going to do what's best for the team.
Thank you, Jake. We'll go to Mary Kay Cabot. This will be our last question for Coach Stefanski.
Yeah, Coach, heard a little bit of your post-game speech to the team, and you were telling them about, that you would take care of them after the bye week and stuff like that, or heading into the bye. So just wondering sort of what the message is, and is it a little bit harder to take care of guys, on a bye week than it would in the past? Normally they would all be dispersing and going wherever. So, I know you're dangling that carrot. Is it a little harder when they kind of have to stay here?
Yeah, I mean, that is unique, Mary Kay. That guys are testing every day during the bye. There are rules based on what you can and can't do during that week, which are the same for every team. So I think more than anything, the guys understand that there's a very, very big challenge in front of us with the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's first and foremost. We have to give – they need to get our best shot. I mean, this is a good team coming in here. So anything that happens after that will get our focus, but not before the Raiders get our focus.